name is Mark Juarez, and today I want to talk. Um, I created the Happy Company in 1992, and I want to talk how I got started. A lot of people were asking how I how I got started. The first thing I did, I had done a bicycle trip around the world, and on this bicycle, I had to build it from the ground up because there wasn't a bicycle that could go around the world. But I never patented any of it, and Bicycle Magazine and a few magazines um, did articles on it because it was a pretty amazing bicycle. And my friends were like, "You're crazy. You should have patented these ideas." But for me, it was more important to bicycle around the world. Um, when I created this, all my friends said, "Wait, this is amazing. You should get a patent on this." So I did, but I had no idea how to get a patent, and patents are pretty expensive. But I got a book by David Pressman called Patent It Yourself. And it it was I it was my it became my Bible. I read it cover to cover a couple times and I thought I could do this. And I was living in Berlin, Germany when I invented this. As that's kind of where I ended up where where I ended my bicycle trip because of a knee injury. And I decided to fly to New York and from New York go to Washington D.C. and apply for a patent. The book gave me really solid information how to do this, but I walked into the patent office and set this on the counter and said, I would love to patent this. What do I do? And the guy looked at me and he said, what do you want us to do? And I said, I was hoping you could help me. And he said, no, we don't help people. We just process patents. And I saw on the wall, um, we help um, budding inventors to get patents. And I said, well, that's me. I'm a budding inventor. I'm I would love to get a patent. And he looked up at the wall and he said, we don't. That that just looked really good, but we don't actually help people. But then he looked at it and he said, what does this do? And I said, oh, it's going to change the world. It's the most amazing massage tool. Can I share you? And he said, that's going to change the world. And I said, well, it feels really good. Can I, do you want to try it out? And he said, yeah. So I jumped behind the counter and I started massaging him. Well, everybody in the back office thought I had attacked him and they called security and security came pretty quickly. And he said, oh, no, he's just massaging me. He didn't attack me. But everybody got curious and they're like, what is this? And soon I was massaging everybody in the patent office. And they're like, oh my God, this is amazing. They mm, then they were asking, why was I there? And I said, I wanted to get a patent for this, but I wasn't quite sure where to start. And everybody looked at each other and they said, okay, let's see what we could do to help you. And they called the examiner for massage tools, as every category has. There's, I think, 28 categories in the patent office, and massage tools is and similar type products is under one of those categories. And so they called the examiner, and she agreed to see me, and they probably told her a story that I was um, well, Helen massage beauty in their office. And this patent office is so huge. It's in Crystal City, Virginia, which is like a part of Washington, D.C. And to go to her office, it was far because, and it was, I had 10, she said she was going to lunch in 10 minutes, but if I came over now, she would see me before lunch. But it was like, it was huge. It was a pretty long walk. And but I ran to her office. I showed her the massager, and it was really surprising. She said I was the first inventor she had actually met. she sees patents all day. Um, and she usually corresponds with the attorneys of the inventors. She has really direct contact with the inventors and has never seen any inventions that she was patenting. And so for her, it was really interesting. And she was amazing to me. So we had the best conversation. She said, look, I really want to help you. I'm got to go to lunch, but I should get, um, I should do a patent search, which I'd done just before I went there. And I showed her what I had gotten. She looked at it. She said, this looks really good. And let me tell you about the patent search. That was also kind of interesting. In 1990, when I got the patent for this, the patent library is so big. It's unbelievable. It's the largest library I ever walked into. And they just have thousands and thousands, hundreds of thousands of patents. And I had no idea where to start. I just stat bookshelves, floor to ceiling, huge bookshelves full of patents. And when I walked in, I was completely overwhelmed. And this young guy came to me and said, what, you look really lost. I'm like, I am. I want to patent this and I want to get a patent search on this. I have no idea where to start. And he smiled and he said, let me help you. And so within minutes, he found somebody that knew exactly where to go to look for this. And we went there and he helped me start to search for this. And I looked at him and I said, thank you. Who are you? Like, thank you so much for helping. And he told me his story. He was maybe 18 years old. He said he started at 14 helping his mother do photocopies of searches she would do. She was one of the examiners in the patent office. And when they find similar patents in the old days, they had to take it to a photocopy machine and make photocopies. And she brought him in at 14 and he started um, making photocopies for her. And soon other examiners were saying, well, could you make photocopies for us? And he said, yes. He started out charging 15 cents every photocopy. And then he raised his price to 25 cents and then 30 cents. And then he capped it at 50. But he was doing so many photocopies a day that he started to bring his friends in and pay them a percentage of what he was getting. And soon he had six of his buddies making photocopies and they started their own business within the patent examiner's office. And I said, oh my gosh, you're such an entrepreneur in your early 18. You're amazing. He said, yeah, I just bought a condo in Florida and I'm doing really well. And um, we really hit it off. He was such a cool guy. And he was in touch with all of the examiners in this patent in this um, library. And so in hours, he helped me do a pretty thorough exam on this for a massage tool. What the examiner asked is, let's not just get the do a search on the exhaust on the massage tools. Let's also look for any toys that might look like this. And I said, okay. And she said, look, it's probably going to take you 3 days to at least to get this examination, but we can meet again in 3 hours. And I said, oh, that would be perfect. So she went off to lunch around 12 and I had a meeting again with her at 3 o'clock. I ran back to the to my friend at the um, library of patent library and told him the story. And he thought, oh, you did great. And I said, she wants me to research all of these other patents, but she said it would probably take me 3 days. He looked at it and he smiled and he said, let's get it done in 3 hours. And so he called all the other examiners and he said, you guys, you got to do me a favor. I've done so many favors for you. Let's do a really thorough search on this guy and see if we can get it done in 3 hours because he's got a meeting with the examiner in 3 hours. And they pulled it off. It was amazing. And I went back to her, the stack of all of the the research we did. She looked at it and she said, how did you pull this off? Nobody could do this in 3 hours. And I told her the story and she was like, "Ah, you're incredible." Um, she brought with her the examiner for toys, which is another category. And together they both helped me write the most amazing patent. Now, patents back then were taking about 21 months to issue, but with all of her help and the fact that we wrote just absolutely amazing, perfect patent, it went through in 12 months, which is amazing. I was feeling top of the world. I was so, so excited. And I took the train back to my friend in New York. And on the train ride on the way back, I'm feeling so good at what I accomplished. And I sat next to an Irish woman on the train, and another guy, uh, sat on the seat across from us. And I told them both my story. And the guy said, that is the coolest story ever. He said, I write for a, a small newspaper. It was just a kind of rag type paper, but in a small town. And he said, could I read your story? And I said, absolutely. That'd be great. And so he writes my story. The Irish woman said, my husband is a big entrepreneur in New York. He loves young guys like you that kind of are doing interesting things. Would you like to meet him? And I'm like, I'd love to. And so just in those few days, so many people I connected with. And I went back to New York to my friend. I was kind of sofa surfing, and I'd met her at a conference a year before, and I called her up and said, "Hey, I'm going to be in New York. Any chance I maybe could crash on your sofa?" And she said, "Of course." And when I got back and I told her the story, I was so so excited. I remember her words. She was an older woman that was so wise, and she said, "When you're on the right path, the universe will support you." And those words still rang so strong for me. There was so it was such a confirmation. When we find that gift, that thing we should be doing in the world, it's amazing how everything just so perfectly falls in place. And for me, this guy was it. It was, I know I was I was meant to to bring him to life. And that little face, he just came to life for me and has a life of his own. And and all these stories were such perfect confirmation that we were on the right path and we were meant to be. Um, and that we were determined to change the world. Thanks so much.